I could eat that all day. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Give it to me, last meal. That's what I want to eat. Italy is one of the world's greatest and most prolific producers of cheese. And in this chapter, I'm going to be talking to you about Italian cheeses. I'm going to go through 4 iconic examples that are made in regions all across Italy. We've got Gorgonzola Dolce, Ricotta Salada, one of my personal favorites, Parmesano Reggiano, aka Parmesan, and Pecorino Toscano. I'm gonna talk about the texture of each, the flavor of each, how I like to prepare and serve them, and even give you guys some really easy recipes so that you can show off these cheeses at home. First up, one of my absolute favorite cheeses, Ricotta Salada. I think that I love it so much because you can't always find it, so it lends an air of specialness to it, and also because once you have it, you want to use it. Ricotta Salada is a cow's milk cheese from Sicily that traditionally would be made with the whey left over from the ricotta making or mozzarella making process. So it's a very light, mild cheese that I think in America we often think of fresh ricotta, which is more of a cottage cheesy texture, spoonable, lovely, delicious, sweet. This is whole milk, whereas Ricotta Salada is lighter and it's left to hang in these baskets. You can actually see the impression of the open weave of the basket where the cheese is put into and then left to drain. So it drains off the excess liquid, and as a result, you have this firm but crumbly kind of texture of cheese. I love this cheese in salads. It is traditionally grated over a Sicilian pasta called pasta alla norma. I would love it on a thin sandwich, like soft white bread, maybe a little drizzle of olive oil and fresh, thinly sliced pieces of pears. I think that would be really delicious. It would be wonderful in a beet salad. So lots of different ways that you can enjoy it. You can also just snack on it. The salad that I'm going to show you today is made with clementines, pistachios, ricotta salada, and a good amount of black pepper and a little bit of honey and lemon juice. It's a savory fruit salad with the cheese and the fruit combined. I'm gonna get started on the salad. I have some chopped up pistachios toasting in a little bit of olive oil already on the stove. They're nice and golden brown and warm. The first ingredient I'm going to add is about a tablespoon of honey. I'm gonna turn this into a vinaigrette. I've got half of a lemon. Adding a big pinch of flaky salt and lots of cracked black pepper. All right, I'm gonna set the dressing aside. I like to kind of cut these irregular. I think it's kind of key though to have a cut side so that the clementine juices start to mingle into the salad. The recipe calls for 1.5 pounds. That's gonna be about 8 clementines. As for the cheese, you can really have it any shape that you want, but I'm going to do really thin little shavings, and these will kind of break apart in a pretty way. So this is sweet and juicy and crunchy and sour and milky and tender. It's kind of got it all. Okay, so to finish this clementine and pistachio salad with ricotta salada, I'm gonna do another little squeeze of lemon, a little more pepper, and a last sprinkle of salt. That salty, bouncy texture of the cheese with the added salt and the pepper, it's really bringing out everything that's delicious about ricotta salada. And then this incredible, like, bright juiciness that's balancing the kind of dry, in a good way, crumbly texture of the ricotta salada is truly terrific. This is Pecorino Toscano. This is a young sheep's milk cheese. It has a nice squeezy, melty, chewy, soft texture. It's very similar to Gruyere. So if you like the texture of that cheese, you will probably like Pecorino Toscano. A lot of people think that they don't like Pecorino because they have had Pecorino Romano, which is from a different region. This is from Tuscany. This is from the southern part of Italy. This is aged. It's much more crumbly for grating. And even just smelling it, it's much funkier, it's sharper, it's a little bit pungent. I happen to like it, but I think a lot of people have had Pecorino Toscano and it's too much for them. It's too salty, it's too funky. And so they think that all Pecorinos are like that. They're not. It's still a sheep's milk cheese, but it's young, it's nutty, it's sweet. It's a great snacking cheese. And you could use it anywhere that you would use cheddar or Monterey Jack or Gruyere. Try subbing it with Pecorino Toscano. One of my favorite ways to eat Pecorino Toscano is in this salad. It's kind of a riff on an Italian chopped salad with fresh beans and a little bit of cured meat, fresh oregano, and a really nice light easy vinaigrette. So to make the salad, first up, I just have some nice mix of beans. These are sugar snap peas and French beans or any green bean that have been cooked briefly in salted boiling water just until they're tender and to take off that kind of raw crunchiness of them, and then shocked in ice water to cool them down, stop the cooking, and preserve the green color. So I'm just gonna combine those beans together. And this is sopressata. It's a type of salami that you can ask at the deli or wherever you're buying cured meats to just cut it off in one piece so that you can cut it into nice chunks. I'm gonna cut these into bite-sized pieces about 1/4 inch. I need 4 ounces of pecorino. This is about a 7-ounce piece, so I'm just gonna take off most of it. The rind of pecorino is soft, but I'm still gonna trim it. And then aiming for about the same size pieces as I did the sopressata. In this vinaigrette, I have white distilled vinegar, white wine vinegar, salt, pepper, a pinch of sugar just to balance out some of those acidic vinegars, and that's just whisked together. So it's gonna be the prettiest and the freshest right after you dress it. Just gonna drop a few fresh oregano leaves over this. That's my young pecorino salad with 2 kinds of green beans, some sopressata, vinaigrette, and fresh oregano. I'm gonna have a little taste. Little sopressata and the cheese. The saltiness of the pecorino is pairing really nicely with the richness of the salami, but then the beans are really crunchy and bright and juicy, so it balances out the richness, and it's acidic. It's a nice peppery flavor from the olive oil. Everything tastes great together. Next up is Parmigiano Reggiano, aka Parmesan. True Parmigiano Reggiano is made in the Emilia-Romagna region of Italy. And in order for it to be called Parmigiano Reggiano, it's always made with cow's milk. It has to be aged for a minimum of 14 months. Lots of things go into making this. So if you want to make sure that you're buying true Parmigiano Reggiano, ask the cheesemonger to let you look at the rind. Every rind of Parm is stamped Parmigiano Reggiano. That's how you know you're getting the good stuff. And this is also a good insurance that you're paying good money for this. You want to make sure it's the cheese that you believe it is. The texture of Parm is known as a grano, which means grainy. It also breaks apart in a really cool way into kind of natural chunks. And when you cut it open, you can see that grainy texture. One of my favorite ways to enjoy this cheese is just as a snacking cheese. I also use Parm in my soups and stews. I shave it with a vegetable peeler and use that in salads. It's got these tiny little crystals that melt in your mouth. It's nutty, it's salty, and a really rich, fantastic flavor. It's so good. I love it so much. One of my most favorite and simplest ways to enjoy parm is to simply grate it over a bowl of cooked wheat berries, which I already have a batch simmering on the stove behind me. So these are wheat berries, also labeled farro. Cook the wheat berries according to package instructions with a little bit of olive oil, salt, and pepper, and serve it in the broth that the wheat berries make. So I'm just going to dress the wheat berries with a little extra olive oil. I love black pepper, so I'm gonna add some more black pepper. And then using one of these nice hunks of parm that I just broke off. To enjoy like this, I like to use a fine-toothed grater, and the cheese will literally start to melt into the broth as it hits the hot liquid. But you should keep going until there's like a nice snow-capped mountain on top. I love all kinds of grains, but I really love wheat berries. It's got this really light body, a little bit of pepperiness from the olive oil and the black pepper, and then you just taste the whole roundness of the parm itself. So essentially with 2 ingredients, I've made like a wheat berry Parmesan soup. Now I have a very colorful cheese from the Lombardy region of Italy. This is Gorgonzola Dolce. This is a blue vein cheese, as you can see. It is a little bit funky, it's a little bit sharp, it has a very creamy, lovely texture. And if you've had blue cheeses before that just were too much on the nose, too much funk, too sharp, too salty, this is a good way in because it's a blue cheese that hasn't been aged for that long. It's milder, it's sweeter. So you can see it's got that kind of sticky, stretchy texture that you would find maybe in a brie cheese or camembert. It does this thing where it like makes me tingle up on this part of my face. The creamy part is creamy and rich and nutty. And then when you hit a little pocket of that blue cheese, that's where you get that kind of sharp, dusty, funky, but in a good way, flavor. So it's a really lovely, gorgeous textured cheese. I'm gonna show you a preparation using the Gorgonzola Dolce that I think is great as like a party starter. I think it's great as a mid-afternoon snack. If you're a savory breakfast person, this would be an amazing way to start off the day. You could really have it whenever you want. This is fig jam. You can find this pretty much in every supermarket. If you don't find fig, pear jam, pear and gorgonzola go incredibly well together. And if you didn't have toast, you could do this on a cracker. The gorgonzola is super spreadable, luscious. You can tell by how easily it moves around. I'm gonna add a little black pepper. Just that little bit of spiciness really amplifies the little bit of sharpness that you get from the blue. And then to gild the lily, a drizzle of honey. Just cut it in half. I taste the fig first. It's that sweetness and richness, the way fig has that like really deep fruit, deep sugary, almost caramel flavor. And then you get the saltiness and the creaminess of the blue cheese, the little cracks of pepper. I guess also the honey is like making a little sweet sandwich for the blue cheese in between. Terrific combo. Love it. Don't fear blue cheese. If you have had ones that were just too much for you, give Gorgonzola Dolce a try and pair it with something sweet, which will be a terrific way to enjoy it and might make the introduction a little bit sweeter. Today, I had a lot of fun tasting and cooking with these 4 incredible cheeses from Italy. We had clementine and pistachio salad with the ricotta salada, beautiful young pecorino salad, brothy wheat berries and Parmesano Reggiano, and the Gorgonzola Dolce with fig jam and honey. I hope that this introduction to these cheeses and the dishes that you can make with them will serve as a gateway to the rest of the incredible cheeses from Italy.